Nandita ma'am, do you have any knowledge how we can cope with piracy in the internet systems?
Definitely, Rajesh. The very first steps we should take to avoid any intruders from pilfering any data from our personal systems is to check that our private data is not invaded.
How can we do that, ma'am?
To do exactly that, you will need to know what the threats are to the Internet Explorer.
What could the threats be, ma'am?
Then let me tell you about the various threats that may harm your personal system. To know the very basics, let's start with cyber attacks. Cyber attackers work untiringly to take advantages of the weaknesses of the network. To attack the network, they create new malicious programs, which are intently designed to disrupt the normal functioning of the Internet. These attacks are an attempt to destroy, steal, disable, alter, expose, or gain unauthorized access to an asset or use of it without permission. This form of attacks create a threat to the Internet, which is then exposed to the danger of vulnerability. The term threat means a possible danger or vulnerability, and the risk is potential for loss, damage, or destruction of the system as a result of a threat exploiting vulnerability. When we talk about vulnerability, it is largely used to recognize the weaknesses or gaps in a security program. These gaps are exploited by threats to gain access to the system without authorization. Most of these cyber attacks are made to breach or break the confidentiality, integrity, or the availability, the three pillars of security, which, as we know, is called the CIA triad. For this reason, it has become very important for us to know a few key terms and their meaning that is relevant to cybersecurity.
Nandita ma'am, why do these cyber attackers try to penetrate the network for malicious activities?
They do these activities in the hope of making some monetary profits.
Oh, how can we avoid the threats then?
To know exactly that, we need to know the various ways by which the intruders can penetrate our systems. Let me tell you about some of the ways for which you need to be cautious. First, let's talk about the threats we can get through emails.
Can sending or receiving an email affect our systems, ma'am?
Sure, Rajesh. There are possibilities. Here are some of them. When it comes to email, the most enormous malicious activity comes from spam mails. Spam mails are emails which are created by various agencies and sent to a large number of users. If you really list the number of emails that goes to and fro, more than 70% of the email traffic is really junk or spam mails sent by malicious agencies. Among the spam mails, a huge part is created by well-planned frauds to try and trap unaware users into their network. Their only motive is to cheat or steal your personal data and information. As you might know, that email does not cost anything to send or receive. For this reason, it is the most common medium used by cyber criminals to penetrate into someone's private information. Emails also do not involve much of technology, and it offers low risk to the cyber criminal. This has become a huge advantage for cyber criminals to use emails to send to unwary users, to manipulate the network and its users. Fraud agencies create lucrative emails. These emails offer fake opportunities to people who hardly know about the agencies. These fraud emails reach a very large number of users and offer good returns, as many users click on them and their attachment out of curiosity. They thus become victims of the frauds. Spam mails are generally designed to involve frauds on making friends online. It could offer a created genuine reason, as helping a friend who is abroad and who urgently needs money to pay off his rent bills or any other bills. Unsuspectful users may usually comply with such emails without knowing that is an email created by a fraud agency. So, with achieved success, such agencies get ahead by creating and sending more spam mails to large number of users. They mostly send mails which either asks or request to help someone to pay for his or her medical treatment, or offers about winning a big money in some unknown lottery draw, or one of the email service providers suddenly selecting you as a big winner.
Wow, there could be such malicious and frauds. I was hardly aware of that factor, Nandita ma'am.
Now that you know, Rajesh, so be careful before opening any email from unknown agencies.
That I surely will do from now onwards, ma'am. Are there any other threats while using the net, ma'am?
Yes, Rajesh, there's more. Let me tell you about social engineering.
Social engineering, what is it, ma'am?
Social engineering involves our connection with various organizations or societies. However, some among them may try to cheat us by engineering an artificial concept or program which offers help to us in times of our needs.
But how would they do that on the internet, ma'am?
There are various ways, Rajesh. Let me tell you with an example. As human beings, we're taught to trust each other. However, this trust is breached by many people with wrong intentions for personal advantages. Similarly, on the internet, there are also users who use to misuse this network to cheat or steal from other people information which might come in handy to them to make an extra profit. This is called social engineering. These intruders exploit the network by engineering such programs which trap unsuspected users into sharing personal information with them. After getting this information, they use it to manipulate the person. Take, for instance, a situation where a person receives an email from a fraud organization offering a lucrative job. Many among us will take this offer seriously, and as emails continue, they may send personal information as required by such organizations. Ultimately, what happens? We disclose so much personal information to an unknown organization that they will take advantage of the situation. The job offer remains a fake screen to hide their real intention. Can you see the danger to your personal side?
Oh, this is really a very dangerous situation. We use the internet for so much purposes. Emails and offers from various agencies are regular. So we need to be very careful against such activities, Nandita ma'am.
Definitely, Rajesh. There are various ways they try to intrude into the personal system through the internet.
Really? What are the common possibilities that we who use the network may be invaded, ma'am?
Let me tell you about the various threats then, Rajesh. Social engineering can be best defined as an act of deceiving someone to manipulate him or her into disclosing information which is confidential or personal and then using it for fraud.
Besides spam mails, how do they do it, ma'am?
Well, there are many other ways too when it comes to the internet. Let me explain them to you one by one. Among the most common other possibilities, social engineering involves phishing, veiling, baiting, and pretexting emails. These are the most common forms of programs used by intruders to invade into personal systems of ordinary users.
Phishing, veiling, baiting, and pretexting emails. What are these, Nandita ma'am?
Well, let me explain all of these precautions to you one by one. The very first is phishing email. This is one of the most common social engineering techniques by which an intruder can harm your system.
What exactly is phishing, ma'am?
Phishing emails are emails which attempt to get sensitive information such as usernames, passwords, and credit card details, which itself lead to pilferage of money from your account. These phishing emails are sent by malicious parties who disguise themselves as someone you might trust. For example, you may receive a mail which declares as you as the winner of a certain lottery from a certain agency. An unsuspecting user may click on this phishing mail to check what he or she has won. As soon as they open the email, these agencies will send a program to access your system to steal valuable information. This is a very common way by which people get trapped in such tactics.
Oh, this is very dangerous, Nandita ma'am. But one thing I can't understand is why is it called phishing?
Well, the word fish is pronounced just like fish. The phishing email perhaps uses the similarity of a fisherman throwing a hook in the water with bait attached to it and hoping that a fish will bite it and get hooked.
So, we may be hooked into a contraception set up by fraud agencies to gain personal information through the internet?
Definitely, Rajesh. Wait, there is more how these fraud agencies work through the internet. Let's start with spearfishing.
Spearfishing?
For your understanding, spearfishing is another form of phishing email in which emails are sent to a small number of users, but bigger effort is put into making the emails look like it has come from a very authentic site, which is responsible for the organization. They may even profess to ascertain themselves as members of such a well-recognized organization, which can take you into assurance that you are secure with your personal information shared to them. These spearfishing is attackers who attempt to send a message to lure a specific individual into divulging personal data to them. For an example, you can take the case of a fisherman aiming for one specific fish with a spear, rather than just throwing a baited hook in the water. The attackers do their homework well to identify their targets by using information taken from social media and use fake or spoofed addresses to send emails that look authentic. Remember, Rajesh, even if an email service provider may look very professional and may seem to belong to a responsible organization, they may be fake.
That's very alarming, ma'am. How can they harm us in any other ways?
To understand such people, you will have to know about whaling and baiting.
Whaling and baiting. Does that also belong to the phishing category, ma'am?
Definitely, Rajesh. Let me tell you more about whaling and baiting. Even if the world uses the email service providers of various organizations, many individuals still receive fraud emails from trusted sites, which led to virus attacks to their personal systems or loss of valuable data. For this reason, we need to know about what whaling and baiting is in the cyberspace.